Hello and welcome to another episode of The Hub on Vital MX, your one-stop shop for motocross news from around the world. And we have a couple of breaking news items to get to this week. So let's start with the most recent, and that is the fact that Aaron Plessinger is out of the SMX World Championship post-season. Now, of course, he missed the final portion of Pro Motocross with an unidentified health problem, which isn't Epstein-Barr, and despite it being his initial intent to race in Charlotte, the recovery is just taking longer than expected, and so his focus is shifting to 2026 and being at his best when gates drop at Anaheim 1. Nestled within that KTM announcement, it was confirmed that Julien Beaumer will race after his concussion at the final Pro Motocross round just 10 days ago. Most presumed that he would be out due to consecutive concussions, but great news, he will race, and in fact he should be considered a win contender. He was great in SMX just last year, and of course in Supercross as well. And just for clarity, Chase Sexton and Tom Vial will be racing for Red Bull KTM Factory Racing in the post-season as well. Now, it was announced earlier this week that Triumph Factory Racing have picked up an amateur. Yes, Deacon Deno will race for Triumph in 2026 and then eventually transition to the pro ranks in 2027. So a nice pickup for the Triumph squad, who are ever expanding. Of course, don't forget, Jeremy Coker's position is to oversee SMX, GNCC, amateur racing, so Triumph is not stopping here. They will soon be infiltrating various different disciplines and championships. Now, moving into one of the more surprising developments, and that is that Christian Craig has left Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing voluntarily halfway through a 2-year contract. Now, knowing a little bit about this, I don't believe that Craig was getting the service that he expected, let's say. He anticipated filling in for Cooper Webb in Pro Motocross. That never happened. Then he wasn't slated to race in the SMX postseason despite qualifying for the LCQ. He wasn't riding in the week as much as you would expect, and ultimately I think he decided to walk away in favour of an option that gave him a chance to be a full-time racer. Of course, the clock is ticking for Christian, and he wants to take full advantage of that, which we have to respect. So, he will race for Quadlock Honda in the WSX series. For 2026 SMX, I don't know. I believe there is a possibility that he will continue with Quadlock Honda. I've heard Phoenix Honda thrown around as a desirable landing spot, but that is all unconfirmed. Now, what does that mean for Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing? Ultimately, nothing. It's not like they are going to add another 450 rider. It's not like they will add another rider. Christian was very much off to the side, and so him leaving really doesn't change or upset the balance of the team at all. If anything, the biggest loss is that they've lost a trainer of sorts for the 250 SMX riders. Moving on to the Monster Energy FIM Motocross of Nations, Team Spain has been announced as Ruben Fernandez, Guillem Fares and Francesco Garcia. Garcia is an EMX 250 rider, a very capable one, and he will be stepping up to the 450 for this race. Of course, Fernandez and Fares need no introduction. Now, most intriguing is that in the announcement, the team manager, Paco Rico, stated that contractual issues with his current team caused Jorge Prado to withdraw in the dying seconds, let's say. Now, there were many rumours that Prado hoped to race the MXoN on a KTM. Obviously, the statement from the team manager alluding to contractual issues points to the impending split between Prado and Kawasaki, which, although not confirmed, certainly seems to be on the cards. And it was always a pipe dream that it would all get resolved before the Motocross of Nations on October the 5th, of course. But let's wait and see what the next Prado news is. As of now, he's racing SMX on a Monster Energy Kawasaki. Beyond Las Vegas, That's as good as anyone's guess. In more Motocross of Nations news, Team Norway will be sending a team of Håkon Osterhagen, Pelle Gundersen and Håkon Fredriksson. A lot of Håkons there. Most suspected that Norway would withdraw because Kevin Horgmo is out with injury, as is Cornelius Tundal. And the most likely of a dream team for Norway would be Horgmo, Tundal and Fredriksson. But despite the injuries to some of their star players, they will be giving the next generation a shot and will add some depth to Ironman, which is always great to see. Of course, this year isn't perhaps the most or the deepest MXoN, so getting these nations on the line is of great importance. And one of the more pleasant announcements to come out this week is that Team Slovenia will be racing a Motocross of Nations in the United States for the first time. And that means that Tim Geiser, winner of both motos last year, will be racing and add some individual flair to proceedings. Obviously, he's a contender for wins no matter where he lines up. And with the absence of Jorge Prado now and Jeffrey Hurlings, having Geiser there is imperative, I do believe. He will be joined by the same teammates as last year, those being Jaka Peklar in MX2 and Jan Panzer in the open category. 7th last year for Slovenia, and truth be told, they could improve on that this year. Could they finish in the top 5? Well, potentially, I do believe so. And Estonia have named their Motocross of Nations team as well, with Harry Kulas in the open category, Jorgen Matthias Talviku in MXGP, and Josip Pan in MX2. No Tanel Liok, yes, it's still quite surprising to see a Team Estonia without Tanel Liok on the cards. And last week, I said that there was an impending Team Great Britain announcement, but that seems to be in a state of disarray now. The team was going to be announced last Thursday as Conrad Mewse, Dylan Walsh and Ben Watson, but now it seems that one of those riders won't be able to race after all. Not explicitly confirmed yet, but looking like it's heading in that direction. So Team Great Britain is scrambling a little bit to figure out their final lineup. But that was set, and that was going to be announced via a PR. But hey, things can change quite quickly in this game. Speaking of Britain, Conrad Mewse won the Moto MXoN British Championship over the weekend with 2-2 scores to Jeffrey Hurlings, who was a wild card. Hurlings, of course, the defending champion in that series. Conrad Mewse has been exceptional in the British Championship this year. Before Hurlings turned up as a wild card, he was undefeated, and even then he was second in each moto, so you could say that he was never beaten by a regular British Championship competitor. There's one more round to go for that series, and Tommy Searle is, I believe, 29 points clear in MX2, so likely to wrap that up on the weekend before the Motocross of Nations at Ling. And in more national championship news, Isaac Gifting, who has become quite a prominent figure in the world of motocross, won the MX1 Italian Championship over the weekend as well. So quite a lot to celebrate around Europe on a very quiet weekend for the sport. I believe that is it for this week's episode of The Hub. A little bit chaotic, a lot happening in different corners of the world, but with the exception of Team Great Britain, we now seem to have a fairly sturdy lineup for the Monster Energy FIM Motocross of Nations. With Plessinger being confirmed as out and Beaumer confirmed as in, we now know how the SMX playoffs look like, so everything is starting to come together. Just lovely. Thank you for watching and listening once again. If there's any news that you would like to be added or any series that you'd like to be covered in the Hub, let us know and we'll expand. Of course, we pride ourselves on the Hub being the only place where you can come to get insight from around the world, no matter if that is WSX, the Italian Championship, the British Championship, the MXoN, SMX, whatever else. It's all right here in the Hub, and we will see you in 7 days' time to recap it all once again.